Imagine waking up one day and realizing that almost every decision you've made over the past few months wasn't really your own. You apologized when you did nothing wrong. You constantly questioned your own memories. You felt guilty for saying no. You slowly lost confidence, not because someone physically controlled you, but because they controlled your emotions. This is the dark psychology of emotional manipulation. Unlike obvious bullying or aggression, emotional manipulation is quiet. It hides behind love, kindness, concern, and even compliments. The most dangerous manipulators rarely look dangerous at all. They know exactly which emotions to trigger, which words to use, and which fears to awaken. By the time most victims realize what's happening, they have already become emotionally dependent on the very person hurting them. Today, we're exposing the hidden psychological tactics that manipulators use, why the human brain falls for them, and most importantly, how you can recognize these warning signs before they take control of your life. The first thing you need to understand is that emotional manipulation doesn't begin with pain. It begins with comfort. This is one of the biggest reasons intelligent people become victims. Manipulators often create an intense emotional connection in the beginning. They make you feel understood, appreciated, and special. They seem to know exactly what you need emotionally. Psychologists often refer to this pattern as love bombing. During this phase, your brain releases chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, making you feel emotionally attached very quickly. It feels like you found someone who truly understands you. But the problem is that this intense affection isn't always genuine. Sometimes it's simply the first step toward gaining emotional control. Once that emotional bond is strong enough, the behavior slowly changes, leaving you confused and constantly trying to earn back the kindness you experienced at the beginning. One of the darkest forms of emotional manipulation is called gaslighting. This happens when someone repeatedly makes you question your own memory, your own judgment, or even your own sanity. Imagine clearly remembering a conversation, only for the other person to confidently insist that it never happened. They might say things like, "You're imagining things," "You're too sensitive," or "That never happened." At first, you trust your own memory. But after hearing these responses over and over again, your confidence begins to disappear. Eventually, you stop trusting yourself and start relying on the manipulator's version of reality. That's exactly what they want. Once someone controls your perception of reality, controlling your decisions becomes much easier. Another powerful psychological weapon is guilt. Healthy relationships encourage responsibility, but manipulators use guilt as a weapon instead of communication. Every time you prioritize your own needs, they make you feel selfish. Every time you set a boundary, they act hurt. They convince you that saying no means you don't care about them. Over time, your brain starts associating self-respect with guilt. Instead of asking yourself what's healthy for you, you begin asking what will keep the other person happy. This shift is incredibly dangerous because your emotional well-being slowly becomes less important than their approval. Silence can also become a form of emotional control. Many people believe arguments are the biggest problem in relationships, but psychology shows that prolonged silence can sometimes be even more damaging. The silent treatment isn't simply taking time to calm down. It's intentionally ignoring someone to create anxiety and emotional discomfort. Humans are naturally wired for social connection. When someone suddenly withdraws communication without explanation, your brain interprets it as a threat to the relationship. You become desperate to fix something, even if you don't know what you supposedly did wrong. The manipulator understands this and uses your discomfort to regain control. One of the most confusing manipulation techniques is inconsistency. One day the manipulator is affectionate, supportive, and caring. The next day they're distant, cold, or critical. Then suddenly they're kind again. This unpredictable cycle creates something psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. Surprisingly, rewards that arrive unpredictably often create stronger emotional attachment than rewards that arrive consistently. It's the same psychological principle that makes gambling so addictive. Your brain keeps hoping that if you just try a little harder, the loving version of that person will return. Instead of recognizing the unhealthy pattern, many people become trapped chasing moments that become increasingly rare. Emotional manipulators are also experts at shifting responsibility. Whenever conflict appears, they rarely accept accountability. Somehow, every disagreement becomes your fault. If they're angry, it's because you caused it. If they lied, It's because you push them. If they hurt you, they somehow become the victim. This psychological strategy protects their self-image while forcing you to carry emotional responsibility that doesn't belong to you. After enough repetition, victims often apologize automatically, even when they've done absolutely nothing wrong. Fear is another emotion manipulators quietly exploit. They may not threaten you directly. Instead, they create fear of abandonment, fear of loneliness, fear of disappointing them, or fear of losing the relationship. Once fear becomes stronger than self-respect, manipulation becomes incredibly effective. People begin accepting behavior they would have rejected under normal circumstances simply because they're afraid of what might happen if they walk away. Social isolation is another warning sign many people overlook. Manipulators often discourage healthy relationships without openly forbidding them. They may criticize your friends, question your family's intentions, or make you feel guilty whenever you spend time with other people. At first, it seems like they simply want more attention. But over time, your support system becomes smaller and smaller. Without trusted friends or family offering different perspectives, the manipulator's influence becomes much stronger because their voice becomes the loudest one in your life. Here's something fascinating about the human brain. Manipulation doesn't always succeed because people are weak. It often succeeds because people are empathetic. Kind people naturally try to understand others. They give second chances. They assume good intentions. These qualities are beautiful in healthy relationships, but manipulators learn to exploit them. They know compassionate people are more likely to forgive, more likely to doubt themselves, and more likely to stay even after repeated emotional harm. So how do you protect yourself? The answer isn't becoming cold or distrusting everyone. Psychology suggests something much healthier. Learn to trust patterns instead of promises. Anyone can apologize. Anyone can make excuses. Anyone can say they love you. But consistent actions reveal far more than emotional words. Healthy relationships make you feel respected, secure, and accepted. Manipulative relationships make you feel confused, guilty, anxious, and emotionally exhausted. Your emotions are often trying to tell you something long before your mind fully understands what's happening. One of the strongest psychological defenses against manipulation is maintaining your own identity. Continue spending time with friends. Keep your hobbies. Protect your goals. Listen to people who genuinely care about you. The more connected you remain to your own values and support system, the harder it becomes for anyone to rewrite your reality. Emotional independence isn't about avoiding love. It's about making sure love never costs you your self-respect. The most important lesson is this: emotional manipulation rarely happens overnight. It's usually a slow process built through small moments of doubt, guilt, fear, and confusion. That's why recognizing the early warning signs matters so much. The moment you begin noticing repeated patterns that leave you questioning your worth, your memories, or your reality, don't ignore those feelings. Ask questions. Seek trusted perspectives. Remember that real love doesn't require you to constantly prove your value. Genuine care doesn't demand fear, guilt, or emotional exhaustion. The healthiest relationships don't control your mind. They give you the freedom to be yourself. If this video helped you understand the hidden psychology behind emotional manipulation, remember that knowledge is one of the strongest forms of protection. The more you understand how manipulation works, the less power it has over your decisions. Stay curious, protect your peace, and never let anyone convince you that losing yourself is the price of being loved.